What's up, internet? So, ever curious what like these real estate trends look like in some of these Nashville neighborhoods? Well, that's what we're looking at here, and this is just for one area, Green Hills, but we can look at any of these neighborhood cuts of the real estate data for the Nashville metro, and for that matter, the rest of the country, because that's what this is. It's the entire model from Redfin. So maybe if there's like some, say, neighborhoods you'd like to see where you live, and that data is available through something like this, then I'd be happy to show it. So, look, I've seen people present this data before, even locally, and they seem to be under the impression that they're the only ones who have access to that, which is just simply not true. And oftentimes they're only showing you maybe like a few years worth of data at best, or and maybe like only single family in isolation. Well, that's just it's just not comprehensive. So yeah, let me explain this setup because I know you're probably looking at it may appear to be busy at first glance, but once I explain it, it'll make perfect sense because it's just giving you a lot of information in one visual, and of course, this whole thing is dynamic and can be adjusted accordingly. So, all right, starting at the top left-hand chart. And this is kind of like the natural progression of things. When home sales are low, as they are now, again, that's on the right-hand y-axis. That's going to cause something like inventory for sale to move higher. That's on the left-hand y-axis. So putting both of those on one chart is just meant to show the correlation between the two. So when home sales are low, inventory is likely going to accumulate and move higher. And that will ultimately put pressure on home prices. So here I'm showing the list price and the sales price per square foot rather than like the outright price, because that can be heavily influenced by just the size of homes selling, say for a given period, one to the next, and especially when you start looking at this type of data at a very local level where there's quite a few less just transactions on a relative basis. Say if you were looking at this information across a state, well, that a sales price number rather than the price per square foot can be very volatile. I would hope that would only make sense. And so here below, all I'm doing, rather than showing like the line chart of inventory and home sales, I'm showing the detail of actually what rolls up into each one of those as a stacked bar chart. And these legends are identical here. So this is telling me that, yes, inventory for all property types, again, all property types, is moving higher. A good chunk of that is being driven by condos, but also single family is well off of its COVID lows. So I'll just kind of click through some of these areas and we can just kind of see what's going on here. So 12 South, look how high inventory for sale is, right? I mean, it's back to the pre-COVID highs, really. But you can see that home sales are just insanely low for the month of July. I mean, only 3 total homes sold. This is a very heavy, as you can see, single family market, although you have seen condos creep in there. And even like just again, because there's so few transactions, look what that does even to the price per square foot median, right? This is why it helps to have adequate context, because a market like this is where a realtor would lie their ass off about this median number, right? A median is a median. Okay, I would hope that that's kind of clear. So here's what Bellevue looks like. Bellevue, that's more of, I would say, middle income, lower income class households in general. We're seeing, I would say, gentrification really spread across the entire MSA, but just in general, that's what I would say about Bellevue. More of a starter home market ish. Okay. Again, same thing. Home sales are very low. Inventory is, very, very high from a historical standpoint. You should not be paying full ask, right? I mean, so, more or less like prices per square foot, they've been pretty flat, I would say, since the summer of 2022. And like, of course, what happened here? You had all of that COVID stimulus and tons of lending occur in this area in this period of time. It was insanely outsized. In fact, I actually showed that for Nashville Metro by DTI, LTVs, and even FICO scores and the distribution of all those originations. And remember, people talk about the fact that, like, it's all these California cash buyers coming into town. They're, driving up prices. And look, that may be true in the margin, but it's just not true in the aggregate. Okay. Just remember that most people finance the purchase of their home. And like, it also depends on like the degree, like how granular your analysis is. I mean, if you're talking about like maybe a cul-de-sac, maybe it is all cash, but not really when you start looking in the aggregate. Here's Belmont Hillsborough, a very, very trendy part of town. Again, inventory is much higher than it used to be. You should not be paying full ass really anywhere in town. Here's East Nashville. This is kind of like hipster central, I would say. Cool part of town. I mean, great restaurants out there. But the same thing. I mean, price per square foot more or less peaked in the summer of 2022. So just because the price is going up, all right, it matters what types of, say, properties are selling. So let me just go over here and show a little bit of a different setup of that same data. Now down here, I'm showing the median closed square footage. And now the entire visual can be cut by property type. Okay, so Green Hills, this is a very affluent area. Single family residential is well off of its lows. It's going to go higher. It just is. And now what's occurring is now just people are buying smaller homes in terms of what's closing. And that would only make sense. So, right, I mean, this gets back to the idea that the sales price and the price per square foot, right? I mean, if I were to show it that way, you can see how, they can diverge. And there's a very good reason for that, right? I mean, think about the median again, what is actually closing. And now below that, and all these colors line up, right? Sales price is in red, price per square foot is in green. If you show it year over year, everything bounced really around BTFP when we rolled that basically welfare program out to stabilize prices. And we more or less kicked the can, right? I mean, like 2 years down the road and we're back to square one. So the price is actually negative, right? But, it matters in terms of the size of homes that are selling from one period to the next, right? That's the point of this measure. And then now that same thing year over year, but as a 12-month moving average, just to smooth out a lot of these trends so it's a little easier to see what's going on. So now understand, again, like this is for the entire, like all Redfin neighborhoods. So, within the Nashville Metro, I mean, Franklin actually does roll up into the area. So, I mean, here's Fieldstone Farms. This is like, I would say, cookie cutter starter home, like 2-3 bedroom sort of homes. Even those are inventories well off the lows. Let's see. Where else can we look? West Haven. This is what I like to refer to as the swingers index. Apparently, there's some swingers out there. I kid you not. And as you can see, even though inventory is not, I would say, terribly high for the area, right? I mean, you're still seeing just some weakness in home prices. And part of that is just the size of the homes that are selling. But, you're eventually going to see on a normalized basis something like the price per square foot actually come down. So here's 12 South again, right? I mean, this is again that when I was making the point of saying, like, if you just have, I mean, all of 2 single family homes sold in that area, a total of 3 homes sold in 12 South in July. Look what that does to the median sales price and price per square foot. I mean, look at that. Do you get it? Right. I mean, if you have a very small number of homes, right? I mean, that's what it's going to do. So anyway, let's see here. Can I get some of these other ones? East Nashville again. I guess we can show that. That's what single family looks like. Again, there's pressure even on the single family side. It's not just a multifamily issue. People need to quit saying that. All right, here's Germantown. All right, so single family, a little harder to see that here. Let's see. Let's look at all residential property types. Okay. Condos. All right. So good bit of condos through this area. Um, that's a big part of the driver here. But you can see prices, even in an area like this, are starting to see some pressure, and that's why if you're looking at a really really small area and thinking of things like comps, it does pay to, I would say, run some averages over this information. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now. Again, if there are maybe some parts of the country that you're interested in looking at, we can do that using this data set. And I have this for zip codes, cities, towns, census designated places, counties as well. Um, yeah, all modeled this way. So anyway, guys, that's all I got. Have a good one.